For a long time, I believed that if others truly understand me, everything would get better. I thought misunderstanding would disappear, distances would shrink, and loneliness would slowly fade away. I was convinced that the real problem in my life was that I hadn't explained myself properly. So I tried. For a long time, I tried to explain why I had changed, why I had let certain people go, why I no longer reacted the way I used to, why I stayed silent, or why I had lost interest in arguing. But the further I went, the stranger something became. With every explanation, I felt more tired, not because speaking was difficult, but because nothing really changed. Little by little, I understood that the issue wasn't my lack of clarity. The issue was that many people only hear what they want to hear, not what is actually being said. Most people are not looking to understand, they are looking for confirmation. They want you to fit the version of you they already have in their minds. When you change, when you step outside the old frame, resistance replaces curiosity. And then you are left with a quite unspoken choice. Either explain yourself again or slowly make yourself smaller so fewer questions are asked. Many people choose the second option without even realizing it. When you try to always be understandable, you begin smoothing out of your life. You soften the edge, remove the complexity, censor part of your experience because explaining them takes effort. Not because those parts are wrong, but because they require time. They demand energy. They might provoke reactions. And this is how gradually you make yourself easier to digest. But life was never meant to be easily digestible. Some experiences lose their meaning when they simplify. Some decisions become distorted when compressed. Some chains fall apart when forced into explanations. Not everything needs to be translated. I realized this when I noticed that even the clearest explanation failed to satisfy certain people. The more I spoke, the more they expected. The clearer I became, the more they want me to continue. Explaining myself turned into an unspoken obligation, as if silence meant I owed something. But the truth is simple. No one owns your inner story. Many people understand you only as long as your choices do not disturb their own lives. When your decisions make them uncomfortable, understanding stops. When your path reflects something they are avoiding, listening becomes difficult. This does not make them bad people. It makes them human. The problem begins when we personalize this limitation, when we assume that if we explain better, choose better example, or soften our tone, we finally be understood. Sometimes that moment never comes, not because of poor communication, but because the other person is not ready to accept the version of you that exists now. Accepting this is painful, but it is also freeing. Once you accept that not everyone will understand you, a strange pressure lifts from your shoulders. You no longer feel complete to explain every decision. You no longer feel that need to justify every silence. You stop holding defense season for every change. At this point, silence is not weakness, it's a decision. Some silences are not born from exhaustion, but from maturity, from the understanding that not everything worth saying it means to be heard. It is interesting how the more grounded someone becomes, the more they are misunderstood. Not because they are unclear, but because they refuse to break themselves into pieces just to be acceptable. Someone who is honest with themselves is not always easy to explain, because honesty does not follow a straight line, carries contradictions, it moves and shifts, it pauses in the ways that seem strange from outside. Many people prefer fixed version of others people who are predictable, whose reaction feel rehearsed, who do not change without prior notice. But real life does not work that way. Some decisions appear sudden because they have been forming quietly for years. Some distances seems unjustified because no one witnessed that slow build-up for exhaustion. Some silence are interpreted as coldness because no one hears the noise inside of your mind. And you are not obligated to explain all this. Being misunderstood is not always a filler. Sometimes it's a sign that you are no longer standing on the same level you once were. The people who are truly close to you do not need to understand everything. Respect is enough. They do not need to approve your path. It is enough that they do not block it. Everyone else is simply watching, even when they offer opinions. Eventually, you reach a point where you prefer calm over being understood, truth over popularity, honesty over explanation. This choice does not make life easier, but it makes real. Perhaps the most important realization is this: you are not a project meant to be explained to the world. You are not required to live in the constant state of defense. You do not have to correct every misunderstanding. Some narratives are allowed to exist, even when they are inaccurate, because you know who you are, and that is enough.